taste bud doesn't belong to me. The green grass doesn't belong to me. White people don't belong to me. I'm an African. Nothing about this place belongs to me. So how can I be a writer? As an immigrant, you doubt yourself. You know, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not. But when are you going to be American? How long will it take you to become an American? You stayed here 30 years. All of you think you're going to go back one day. It's not true. You're never going to go back. You're never going to go. You're going to die here, for sure. So
Somalia's heart, they discovered strength side by side, a legacy of courage in the land where our spirits reside.
That I, like, whether I wanted to go to school or if I wanted to chase anything else, and then an acting opportunity presented itself. So when that presented itself, I thought it was a joke, you know, growing up in this city. I never heard of nobody, you know, having aspirations of trying to be on TV and whatever the case may be. So I did my fair share of research, and then just like how anything I do in life, you know, I do it to the best of my ability.
Him right now, I'm Abdurrahman Aidrus. You can picture him, he's always wearing suits. He says, welcome everyone to this landmark occasion. As the founder of Somali Cultural Center, I'm thrilled to share our vision and the profound commitments that guide our work. Positioned at the crossroads of art and activism, the Somali Community Center is dedicated to enhancing the artistic and cultural heritage of King County Somalis and other African diaspora. By addressing the historical underrepresentation of Somali creatives, we engage in a dynamic range of activities, from lectures and workshops to culturally rich events that leverage the transformative power of art and culture. This evening, as we unveil Somali arts and culture, a journey of healing and empowerment, we celebrate the unique tradition of the Somali diaspora, enriching the cultural fabric of Greater Seattle and King County. We are honored to have special guests such as Boyah Farah, Aja Phillips, and Hanad Abdi. He's my nephew. Hi, Hanad. Who embody the depth and diversity of African diaspora artistic contribution. Thank you for joining us in this journey of learning, of creativity, and healing.
Somalia ku dhashay, Somalia ku koray, lacagteeda ku soo gartay. Ma jeceli inaan mikrofoonada imaado, emotional waan qiiroodaa. Qofku markuu waddankiisa iyo wanaagsan ogaa, uu ka soo tagay waddankii wanaagsan oo haddana arko masiibada ku habsatay. Iyo inagoo hal family ah, one family ah, cid bay ku diidan. Soomaalidu waa family, maaha qoomiyad. Ethiopia kala qoomiyad ah. Waa dhibtu xagee naga raacday. Maadaama aynu Soomaali nahay, hal diin haysano. Af Soomaali ku wada hadlayno. Aynu nahay dad wada. Haddii aad isku abtirsataan, ehel baad wada noqonaysaan. Waa in abtiga, waa abrawadaga, waa in adeerka. Khayr aanan gelin Soomaali ahaan ma leh. Wax ka wanaagsan ma jiro.
Somalia, I have never seen you. I have never seen you, Somalia, my homeland from afar. I have never seen you, Somalia, my homeland from afar. Where the earth meets the sky beneath the evening star. Here in the tales from Mogadishu to Kismayo's vibrant coast. And Puntland's rugged hills, my family's pride, our boast. Under the Somali sky where resilience and beauty blend. Bustling city corners,
with quiet deserts and
Mogadishu's historic walls,
with laughter and life,
with laughter and life replete, to Berbera's peaceful shares,
where the sky and ocean meet,
my grandparents found each other,
in Nairobi's embrace.
their love a bridge between worlds.
Across time and space,
In Somalia's hurt,
they discovered strength.
they discovered strength side by side.
A legacy of courage in the land where our spirits reside.
A legacy of courage in the land where our spirits reside. From the horn's tip at Pulnan to Kismayo's ancient signs,
Our Somali spirit endures woven by steadfast.
our Somali spirit endures woven by steadfast hands.
Tomorrow I'll raise my voice, a tribute to our skies,
Tomorrow I'll raise my voice, a tribute to our skies,
singing Somalia's song of hope where my heart lies.
singing Somalia's song of hope where my heart forever lies. How? I've never seen you, Somalia, my homeland from afar, where the earth meets the sky beneath the evening star. Here in the tales from Mogadishu to Kismayo's vibrant coast and Putna's rugged hills, my family's pride, our boast. And the Somali sky where resilience and beauty blend, from bustling city corners to where quiet deserts end. Mogadishu's historic walls with laughter and life replete, to Berbera's peaceful shares where sky and oceans meet. My grandparents found each other in Nairobi's embrace. Their love a bridge between worlds across time and space. In Somalia's heart, they discovered strength side by side, a legacy of courage in the land where our spirits reside. From the horn's tip at Puntlands to Kismayo's ancient sands, our Somali spirit endures, woven by steadfast hands. Tomorrow I'll raise my voice, a tribute to our skies, singing Somalia's song of hope where my heart forever lies.
A trailblazing first-generation Somali-American, growing up in the heart of Tukwila, Hanad's formative years were shaped by the diverse environment of Seattle, Washington. Hanad's most famous for his lead role in Season 2, Episode 4 of Apple TV's captivating anthology series, Little America. His episode holds a deep personal significance, telling the story of a Somali immigrant resonating profoundly with Hanad's own background as a member of a Somali immigrant family. As his career unfolds, the tragedy of his success... My bad. Take that back. As his career unfolds, the trajectory of his success knows no bound. He continues to shine a light on the underrepresented stories while leaving a mark on the world of entertainment. With unwavering determination, he embraces the journey that lies ahead, eagerly anticipating the next chapter of his career. Welcome, Hanad. Awakan Hanad. هذا صاحبي حشود قال جوجي ما بات.
حلبة ما شاء الله. I don't say والله. Bilal, I'm so impressed. Yeah, so the next person that I wanted to introduce is Boya. And he honestly does not need any introduction, but he's the author of the book down there, How America Made Me Black. He grew up in Boston, even though as Somalis, if you are over age 15, you're already grown. So I believe you already were over 15 when you came, right? So, and he's an award-winning author. And we have questions where we're gonna have folks also introduce themselves. Welcome.
Thank you.
And then, next I wanted to introduce Ajar, who I met at a kickoff event of the Puget Sound Sage Community Leadership Institute, and found out that she wrote a book about, the title is Shouting Silence, My Black Skin is Too Heavy to Carry. And Aja is a Seattleite, lives in Radia Beach, who's attending law school and now is working with different nonprofits to build capacity. Welcome, Ajo. The first question is going to be asked by...
Oh, I'm starting it off?
Yeah.
So the first question, can each of you start by sharing a bit about your journey as a creative? What inspired you to become an artist, and how has your background influenced your work? So do we take the mic out or like?
Or you can stand and do it.
Yeah. So we'd rather have you guys stand up.
Read the question one more time.
All right. Can each of you start by? This guy's talking about repeat. He's not listening to me. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. The question was, can each of you start by?
Yeah.
To become an artist, and how has your background influenced your work?
So my situation is it's an interesting one. I started off when I was 18. I was in high school. You know, he was in school with me, trying to get me right, mashallah. I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do in my life. I didn't know where I was headed. All I knew was that I had like a unique talent. You know, growing up, I had a brother in Muhammad. Where is he at? The city council guy. Where is he at? What I expect me? Let's get there. Anyways, that guy, he set a high, very, very high standard in our household. And I think since I was born, he set a foundation where it was going to be a competitive one. And so growing up, seeing him being successful in every field that he's ever been a part of, and mashallah. Yeah. So seeing him achieve everything that he's achieved in his life, and me not necessarily knowing exactly, what lane I wanted to go in, I realized that I had to, make a decision when I was 18 that whether I wanted to go to school or if I wanted to chase anything else, and then an acting opportunity presented itself. So when that presented itself, I thought it was a joke, growing up in this city, I never heard of nobody, having aspirations of trying to be on TV and whatever the case may be. So I did my fair share of research, and then just like how anything I do in life, I do it to the best of my ability. I realized that it was something that I might, be good at if I was given the opportunity. So I brought it up to my mom and dad. Alhamdulillah, they blessed it. They told me, go ahead, try it out. And as soon as I started over here in Seattle, I started with a small group, people that came from LA looking for talent. I started with them. I went through a course of, competitive states. And then eventually I ended up being one of the top guys that they wanted from the city. So I figured, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go ahead and do this with the big dogs. I don't know who's in LA. They said Denzel Washington. I thought I could beat him. So I said, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to go down there, and I'm going to see what they're talking about. So I went to LA, and then, eventually, alhamdulillah, I got a little bit of luck, a little bit of perfect timing. A guy named Kenan who did the waving flag back in 2010. He had a TV show that he was coming out with called Mogadishu, Minnesota. And so I got the opportunity to meet him, and we had long conversations about what it is that he was trying to, put together and whatever the case may be. And then, eventually he went with me, and my career started there. So the city I grew up in, Tukwila, Washington, all the guys that I've recognized from over here, a lot of the folks have played a big role into just molding me as a man and trying to, get me to, stay away from all the negatives and keep me in sports and keep me positive. So I want to thank everybody who came out today, and some of the folks who didn't come out today, I'll deal with them later. The younger generation, we should have had a little bit more of them. But this is a new space. Brought it up a little earlier about how we had another place that we booked originally, and it would have been a lot easier for folks to come down there. But the ones that made it, I want to let you guys know you guys are appreciated. So that's my piece.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? All right, thank you for coming and thank you for accepting me. I'm not Somalian, of course, but I'm African. So for me, Africa is Africa. Doesn't matter where we come from. Before the borders, it was just one big, giant place. So my story started when I was about 9 years old. I had a dream, and in a dream I was speaking English, and my country is French. We don't speak English at all. And I was so happy in my dream that I could see like my adult self speaking English. And I woke up from that dream. I was so excited, very happy. I ran to one of my brothers and I told him, I said, hey, I couldn't hold it. I was just overly happy. I said, I saw myself speaking English. And I was like a grown, big person speaking English to people. And he turned around, he looked at me, he said, you can't be dreaming like that. This is a big dream for you. You should be dreaming that God blesses you with a good husband so you can have a good house, a good, happy life. Don't ever be dreaming of speaking English and doing big things. It just shattered my joy. I got upset. And I dared him. I said, well, I am going to speak English. Watch me. And I held on to that person that I saw in my dream. I didn't know where she was. I just followed her. Whoever you are, I'm going to follow you. And I followed that dream. And I started writing about how I envision her, how I want her to be. I wrote poems to her, I wrote letters to her. And today, I don't know whether I met her yet, but at least I'm speaking English. Yes, that's a little bit of my artist mind that prompted me to start writing.
Wow, that's powerful. Good to hear that. Good to hear you both. Good to be on the stage with you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
How did I start the journey of writing? I wish I could tell you that. I started the journey of writing. First, let me say thank you to OPA. Thank you for Somali Cultural Center for bringing me here. They made this possible. I was just here last month, University of Idaho, which is not far from here. You know, I was in transit, so I'm glad to be here. Well, how did I become a writer? If you can get me upset, I'm gonna write about you. That's how my writing starts. There's a lot of true things in my identity. Am I an African-born American? That's true. Is there a oneness in the world? One God? That's true. Is it sky? That's true. There's a beauty in the state because it's so beautiful outside. It's also anyone who wants to come here from Boston, we always tell them, please don't kill yourself. Because a lot of people here are, we heard a lot of people are depressed here. But it's so beautiful. You know, it is a metaphor for life. There's always a beauty and there's always a danger. And that's what made me a writer. Because there's a beauty in anything, and there's also danger. My life carries both. Was I born in Somalia? Yes. When I'm in Africa, who am I? African. Am I a black man in Africa? No. When I'm in the US, who am I? Black man. As long as a white man calls himself white, James Baldwin said, then I'm forced to call myself black man. When a police stops me, who am I? Black man. I'm not Somali. I'm not Ethiopian. I'm a black man in America. That is how you're gonna be treated in this country. When you're in Africa, call yourself whatever you want. But in this space, that's who you are. So many things made me upset. And as Somali, as a nomad, we know we fight our enemies carrying the gun. I don't have access to that. Who am I? A writer. So when America got me upset, I wrote a love letter to America metaphorically. Dear America, you are nothing without immigrants.
That's right.
Immigrants made you beautiful. My literature means I love you, reciprocate the love. If I tell you I love you and you don't reciprocate it, that makes me upset. Then I wrote a letter to you. So when you're in America, young people, you're an American, a black man living in America, a black person living in America, you're part of the minority community here. You have to recognize that. If you don't, all the people that always ask me, what are you? You're not black? You're not a black man, you're Somali. What is Somali in America? When I get stopped, one of my best friends is here tonight, and I'm proud that he's here, because I've been, I went to high school with him. We drove on the American highways. Abi Mesfin, I got love for you. I appreciate you coming. He's my best friend from Boston. So I'm glad he's here. And you're definitely going to be in my next writing, my next book. It's a soft book that says, Dear America, let me show you the beauty that I've seen. This one says, Dear America, I love you. These are the things you have to change. So creative side, whenever I get upset, I go back and I start writing. When I write, I have to have the same seat, the same coffee, the same space. Everything has to be the same. And I have to sleep right. I have to stay away from stress. Then I can write the whole book in 28 days. That book I wrote in 28 days. And now it's universal. It's everywhere. So that's my creative side. I'm glad to be on the stage with young brother. One day I'd like to see my work, you acting. Inshallah. For sure. And I'm glad to be here. That's who I am. The book for me, actually. Growing up in this country, my dad died in 1989. Before he died, I was there in the room with him, and the book narrates that, a process with which Muslim dies. I narrate that all the way to the grave. And my dad was like, you're my son, and this is who you are. Somalis are very brave people. And so I came into this country with that bravery, that I love camels. I love the American highways because there's freedom in it. And so when I saw that how America treats the black bodies, I began to think. And I thought it was nothing in the beginning, because if I survived death, and I was born in a river of death in Somalia during the war, but I thought I was going to grow up in the river of peace, the American green grass outside. But the American green grass treats us differently than a white person. So I had enormous identity issues. For example, music. I love Tupac. I grew up listening to Tupac and Biggie and, Dead Press and Wu-Tang from 90s generation. And so all these things had an impact on me. Who am I? Am I Somali? Maybe. Am I American? Maybe. Or maybe not. So all these identity issues I carry, no one understood me. I'm a writer. You're not supposed to understand me anyways. The day you understand me is the day you die or I die. It's the way it is. So I wanted to go in that reservoir of creativity and write. So one day I made a decision. I said to myself, I don't know who I am. I'm going to write a book to myself. And so I wrote 1,500 pages of a book. And when I decided to do that, I refused to cut my hair. I refused to buy new clothes. Every single morning I would go to Starbucks on one seat and just write. Every single morning. And people ask me if I'm going crazy, especially Somalis. Because, my hair, I'm not taking care of myself. Now, this guy must be going crazy. He needs Quran Sar. But the thing is, I made a vow to God alone. I said, Dear God, I'm gonna write my book, or I'm not gonna reward myself. So after I wrote 500 pages, I sent it to my agent, and I said, but make something out of sense, make something out of book. And she said, well, you wrote a lot about Somalia, and I'm not sure if we can publish this. And it's a lot. Only a crazy person writes something like this. And she said to me, then I was like, do you have something for America? And I was like, I don't know what the hell I am in America. Because America rejected me, even though I love America, I'm an immigrant. You adopted me from war, and now you don't like me? It doesn't make sense. I think immigrants have more love for America than Americans. Yes. But America doesn't recognize that. So I said, I love America, but America hates me. So I'm going to write this book that I have to find myself. So in an effort to find myself, I sat down and wrote this book called America Made Me a Black Man. And so it navigates, who am I? A child of war. Who am I? A child of a guerrilla fighter. My father was a guerrilla fighter. 1977, he was in the war. He has multiple identities himself. I have multiple identities as well. So I wanted to dissect that, understand who I am. And then I go back to Somalia in a very in the nation of poets. I try to listen to a lot of poetry. And I understood that life begins with words and it ends with the words. Before you were born, two people got together, they say hello to each other, they smile, they love each other. They get together and you conceive. You were born out of words. So those things, I went back to the language. That was the first question, I think. The second question, remind me?
I moved on to the third question, but I also actually have a follow-up. So you said, I said you explore profound themes of identity and belonging. How do you navigate these themes in your writing? And what impact do you hope your work has on readers? The impact that you hold. But before you respond to that, when I heard about your book last summer and started listening to it, and at the time, my oldest son and I were the only ones who were in Seattle. The other two were visiting their dad in Boston. And I got excited after I finished the book, and I was like, oh, this book is speaking to you. And what is it called? How America Made Me Black. It was written by a Somali man. And he's like, isn't he black? How did America make me black? And he's not the only one that asked me that. How did America make him black if he was already black? Especially for first generation, whether Somali-Americans or Ethiopian Americans or, and Senegalese Americans or Burkina Faso Americans, you name it, Nigerian Americans. So can you speak to that impact, please?
Yes. God made me black. I'm proud to be black. As you can see, when I apply for application, when I say I'm black, all my boys are black. Culturally, in the book it says I belong to the people of rhythm and rhymes, fashion and sports. Who are they? Black people. So I'm a proud black man. I'm also proud to be Somali, the nation of poets, the brave people. That's just the way it is. And our continent, Somalia, is in Africa. We're black people. But we went through a lot of oppression. And therefore, people like to be those who control the universe today in the media. It's nothing more than that. In Africa, I'm African. I'm an African-born American. African Americans are American-born Africans, period. They're never going to be more than that. They can try to sing and dance and say, I'm American. No, that's who you are. You're African. That's what Malcolm said. So, and I trust Malcolm's words. That was my first.
I went in each and every single time that I had the opportunity to, and I left it all on the line, and then I would go from there. But I'm just very big on trying to keep the main thing. In the world that we live in now, it's extremely complicated. Especially a guy like me, when you go into LA by yourself, I don't know nobody. I don't know no family, no brothers. I don't have no friends, none of that. And so when I was going out there in that crazy world, and I still think my mom and dad are crazy for sending me out there. They're nuts, but shout out to them. I tried to keep everything as simple as I could, and just try to keep everything from getting too wild. So eventually it was a lot of me sitting in a room by myself, getting to know myself, understanding that my moment and my time is gonna come when it comes, and just being ready for that. So to answer the question, it's a lot of just me and within, and having a conversation with myself to prepare myself for what the real world looks like.
Thank you, Hanad. I think I met Hanad first, even though he's my nephew. I went off to college, and when my son was about 3 years old. And then he was really goofy in a good way and so funny, used humor as a defense mechanism. And I remember telling him, he was barely 10 years old, and I'm like, you're gonna be surprising a lot of people one day. And that happened, and it's gonna even get bigger, inshallah. Okay, this question is for you, Ajar. In your book, Shouting Silence, My Black Skin is Too Heavy to Carry, touches on powerful themes of race and resilience. How do you approach these sensitive topics in your writing, and what conversations do you hope to spark among your readers?
Thank you. Oh wow, this is a big powerful question. Yes, as brother said previously, as an artist, you have to be honest. There is an honesty that comes with writing and producing art. So, as we all know, when you're you're African diaspora, you come here in the United States as African. My father's tribe is a Mosi in Burkina Faso. And I usually joke like, oh, we used to be the bigger people, but now we're nothing. Because I come from a tribe of royalty where in Burkina Faso, when you say Mosi, they are the owner of the land. The first people that landed there created a space for themselves, and they were warriors and going around conquering until the white people showed up and took everything away from them. But we grew up with the notion of royalty. So I never felt less beside that I'm a woman, and and my brothers kept reminding me of my femininity. That was the only issue that I had for being not equal to my brothers. But I never thought myself as a black person. I didn't even know there's such a thing existed until I came here. At the airport, to check in, there was a boxes where you check. You, there are a lot of boxes, and I couldn't check any of the boxes. I'm like, I don't. There is no box here for me, and I didn't check it. So the agent was like, oh, check one of this boxes. I said, yo, there is no box there for me, and he's like, hey, you're black. Check it here. So at that instant, I'm like, no, I'm not black. I'm African. So, and the battle started right there at the same point. The same day I started fighting, like, why did he call me black? I'm not black. So, but I had no idea what blackness was. I had no concept of blackness, and I was young, I was 18, and I'm naive, I'm fighting, I'm like, why did you? But it stayed internally until I didn't even know racism existed. And I came here alone. There was no adult with me. It was just me for school. So in school, there were a lot of things that were signaling my blackness, but because I was fighting it internally, I like, no, it's not me. It's it. Until I started to study it. What does it mean to be black? What is blackness? And I invested a whole 1 year of academic studies, research, talking to people, listening, observing, and doing a full research of what it means to be black. Then I realized that, oh, I got my black card. The first day I landed here, before I didn't even have a green card yet. But so yeah, and that's when I started like intentionally writing about blackness. And me as an African who's fighting that I'm not black and now I'm black, when I said I'm not black, black Americans get offended. And I'm offended too, and not knowing why are they offended that I said I'm not black. So I'm like, well, you're offended, I'm confused. Now it's too confusion for me. I'm African, but you're black, but I'm African. So that confusion created more confusion in my mind that I was like, okay, I have to decode that. It's a code, I have to decode it. And then George Floyd happened. My anger rose up to a level that I could not hold. So I cried, I prayed, I did everything normal, and it wasn't going away. I just had to let it out. So we're an artist, so we talk to the world with words. So I started putting my frustration and my confusion and everything that I didn't understand. Now George Floyd made it clear for me, you are black. So as brother said, America made me a black man, so America made me a black woman, and I have to accept it.
All right, the next question is going to be for all you guys. We're going to start with Hanat and then just pass the mic over. So all of you work at the intersection of art and activism. How do you see your roles as artists contributing to social change within your communities and beyond? And what challenge do you guys face in this endeavor?
In my field, is the mic on?
Yeah.
In my field, I think a lot of us have watched television before at least once in our life. So, you know, we don't see folks that look like us. We don't see Somali people. We don't see East Africans as much. And, you know, that's, you know, a situation that we need to handle. We're extremely underrepresented. And, you know, I don't want to consider myself a pioneer or anything like that, but it's going to take people like me, folks like us, to create change and, you know, go out there and just open up doors. I mean, that's one of my biggest goals, you know, is to create opportunities for, you know, Somali people and especially folks in the city. You know, I think we have extremely unique talents and very creative people. I mean, this is the city I grew up in, so, you know, obviously I would assume that, you know, they're the best out there. So, inshallah, you know, God willing, you know, I'm gonna do what I can to allow that change to come a little sooner than it probably would have. So, I mean, that's my answer.
What's the question again?
My bad. Next time, we'll just wait until you guys are finished.
All of your work at the intersection of art and activism, how do you see your roles as artists contributing to social change within your communities and beyond? And what challenges do you face in this endeavor?
Thank
Sorry,
you.
Habo.
Thank you. Oh, Bill out there, Bill.
My book touches themes as race, gender, and the impact of colonialism. And it speaks about how colonialism has affected all of us, Africa, as a continent, and individually as people. So we no longer typically African, and we're not Europeans. We cut in the middle. So it touches those topics with myself in it, how gender, race, and the impact of colonialism is affecting me as an individual person, my family, my community back in Africa, my community here in Seattle, and the global world, how that impacts us, like race, gender, and impact of colonialism, the trifactor. And for specifically Black women, and as African women, we don't carry, it's no longer the trifactor, Black woman in America. As African woman, you carry four, you're Black, you're a woman, and then you're an immigrant attached to your status. How do you navigate all those to survive in a world where it's not prepared for you? How do you create a space for yourself and the people around you and probably the generation coming after you and or your children? So that's how I feel like my work impacts the community, because it's not just me. I'm not writing about how I feel being a woman and a Black woman in America. I write about how the global view of Blackness affects us together as people of African descent. And how can we navigate through that? How can we create a world that fits us? The world that can accept us as we are, and we don't have to assimilate and lose our identity in it.
All right, it's my turn, huh? Well, that question, for me to answer it, I would say there are three galaxies. The galaxy of the dead, where my dad lives. The galaxy of the living, where you live. And the galaxy where the writers live, artists, live. Arts are supposed to challenge you, who lives in the land of the living. Metaphorically, you live in the land of the living. I want whatever I write to impact, to change, to challenge the status quo. The first essay I did, it was called, that as white published, it's called The Shade of My Skin. A cop stopped me. The whole community called the cops on me because I was parked right outside of rich white town. They called the cops on me. And I'm like, cops all came. I'm like, what do you want? All the whole community call us. Okay, good thing they didn't arrest me. I go back and I wrote an essay. The essay was published at Harvard Media. It went viral. The community called me to explain. I told them if it's truth, I'm not explaining it. If you have a question, call me. I'm not coming. They got together and now they have a sensitive training. The second essay, it was called Home No More. I wrote it also at the Harvard Kennedy School. You can Google it. When the Syrians were being rejected, I told them that what is happening to the Syrian community in the war will come to you, the Americans, because war is like drifting wind. When war is not here, it's visiting somewhere else. When it's visiting here, someone else is having a great time. So I remind the humans in the galaxy of the living that be careful, be kind to one another. And this particular book, the same thing I did. I wrote it to America. So what I'm saying is, America, you've done wrong in the land of the living. Change before it's too late. So it's a book that looks at long term. So to answer that question, that's how I look at it. I think arts changes people's lives. I see a lot of people talking about me, a lot online. Because you know, writers have a degree of narcissism. Or sometimes I Google myself. And I look at myself and I was like, let me see what they're saying. And they're saying so much. You know, what that says is people are being challenged, you know, intellectually, and they see the work is being felt the way I want it. I don't want to see Ethiopian community say we're not black people. It's embarrassing. I don't want to see Somalis that are saying we're not black people in America. That's embarrassing. In America, you're black people. In Somalia, you belong to a tribe. In Kenya, you're African, or you're Somali, whatever it is. Outside of America, I'm somebody else. But in America, I'm a black man. I'm Tupac. I'm you. I'm him. He looks like Omar Abs to me, you know, and he's Somali, so it's okay.
You made a joke about the blackest guy in here. I love it.
You know, that's my favorite thing. You know, very much love.
Thank you for that. Next, I would like to invite you all. First of all, thank you for sharing all that. So we're gonna have the last question, and this is to invite you guys to share some personal insights and advice based on your experiences. So as we close our panel today, I'd like each of you to reflect on the lessons you have learned throughout your creative journeys. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self or to an aspiring creative or artist in the audience, what would it be?
If I could give myself an advice, my younger self an advice?
Yeah,
Yeah, my baby self. Honestly, last week I was a part of a podcast and they asked a question similar to this. I think I wouldn't tell myself too much, you know, because the kid that I was, who you happen to know very well, was a very, very delusional kid. You know, alhamdulillah, you know, my mom and dad, they made me a believer, like, you know, they made me feel like I could conquer anything in the world. And so, you know, I had my fair share of struggles in school, as Gulad would know. Give you another shout out. And, you know, once again, like I knew that I was destined for something bigger and better. And so, me understanding that, like I took a lot of life gambles. I tried different things. I played sports. I tried playing tennis. I was a part of a chess club in high school. You know, when you look at me, you probably would never assume that. All of that comes from, all of that comes from, you know, me just exercising just my delusion and like my, you know, imagination to an extent. So it's just like my younger self, I probably would have told him just keep trying new stuff, you know, you know, do more. You know, during the later stages of my life was when I opened up to the idea of just seeing what else I'm good at, you know? And I definitely would have told him to keep going. I would have told him that you're gonna make that guy proud one day and that you would be sharing the stage with two amazing folks. That's what I would have told that guy. So, yeah, man, delusion. That's the advice I would have gave myself.
creativity.
Absolutely, creativity for sure.
Yeah, thank you. You are still young, very, and your younger self would have been maybe like a baby self, but but it's good that you discovered that very early on. So for me, what I would tell my younger self is to reach out to other people, like-minded people like you, who are people that can guide you to the right direction. Because I struggle a lot alone, because no one understood me. I grew up in a large family, 5 wives. My dad has 5 wives, four wives, and he has 21 children. And I was like in the middle. All my older brothers, they were all like 10 of them were all men. I was like, unfortunately, born in the middle and the only girl within them. So it was hard to be seen or to be heard. So I had to fight my way and isolate myself altogether to keep my dreams alive too, because I could envision what I wanted for my life. I don't want to just be a wife and a mother. I want to be more than that. And my culture, my family, everyone was pressuring me to forget about that, leave it out, it's wrong. And I was like, no, I can see, I know what I want for myself. So it was a lot of struggles, a lot of crying, and a lot of rebellion. And as I'm cool today, I wasn't much that cool. I was very rebellious, a fighter, like a military mode fighter. And looking back at that younger self today, I felt sorry for her that I put her through, but I'm also glad that she carried me all through the pain. So I will tell her early on, look for people that can understand you. So if you find at least one person that can understand you, that person can guide you better than struggling alone. So that's what I will tell my younger self. But for younger people, like this beautiful young lady here who wrote a poem, I write poetry too. So poetry is a way to communicate with the world. So if you write, just be honest in your writing, be true to yourself, be true. And I don't usually worry about what other people will think about my art. As long as deliver, I leave it to the universe to do its part. So that's what art is, and I see art as a better solution than engaging in destructive ways of solving your anger. I see a lot of young people around me today, they're quick to anger, frustration, because the system is working against them. But if you let the minute you let the anger take place, you lose opportunities. You lose everything. So writing it's a good way to temper that. It's a good way to express yourself without giving yourself to the system. And I'm tired of seeing my younger brothers and sisters getting caught in the system, and it takes away from us. It takes up, like you are a creative person today that we all hope to see you in big places. So we want that. We don't want you letting yourself sink in the system, and the system will take that opportunity from us. So that's what I will say to young people. Yes, it's frustrating, but there are ways to tackle that anger without losing yourself in it. So that's all we can do. It's continue fighting in a different ways, peacefully.
At that, love is real, hate is real, God is real, you're real. As long as you have self-confidence that there are certain things that are real, and there are certain things you can do something about it, and you employ that with a degree of bravery and patience to sit, because art needs loneliness. I sit about 10 hours. Me, myself, computer, and a massive dark roasted coffee. Lots of it. And it's almost, by the time I get up, I had so much coffee. And so you need those things. Anybody who makes something out of themselves, you need that. You need to go through those processes. So what I would tell you is, I wish I listened to my high school teacher, Mr. Maxwell. First time I wrote an essay, he told me I'm a writer. I never believed him. I wish I listened to Mr. Reynolds It took many hours of talking to me. He's like, man, whenever you write something, you write poetically. Why don't you be a writer? And I'm like, I'm an immigrant. The language doesn't belong to me. The culture doesn't belong to me. The taste bud doesn't belong to me. The green grass doesn't belong to me. White people don't belong to me. I'm an African. Nothing about this place belongs to me. So how can I be a writer? As an immigrant, you doubt yourself. You know, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not. But when are you going to be American? How long will it take you to become an American? You stayed here 30 years. All of you think you're going to go back one day. It's not true. You're never going to go back. You're never going to go. You're going to die here, for sure. So what you have to do is, no, I'm being honest. What you have to do, look, death is real. Just like birth is real, death is real. What did I say? Love? What did I say? Love is energy. Hate is energy. Both energies, you have to channel it. So when someone angers you, that's nothing but love. That's nothing but energy. Sit down and channel it. But if you channel it destructively, then you go to prison. That's what America wants you to do. So you can end up in prison. If you channel it creatively, like I am, or all of us are, then you get invited to this place I've never been before. You understand what I'm saying? So it's the way you respond to life that matters more than anything. How do you respond to life? That's what you have to think about. So what I would tell you is, back then, the only regret I have is I wish I listened to a lot of the people who told me, right. One time, I'll give you an example. I always want to do something bigger than me. And I visited this lady who was very, very wealthy. When I entered her house, I was like, wow, this is nice. This lady doesn't even have to go to heaven. She got heaven here, you know? It was a joke. It was a joke. So I entered inside her house, and I'm like, this is beautiful. So I asked her, I was like, I like to build a hospital or school in Somalia, and I like some money from you, help support me. She looked at me, and she said, I read your work. You wrote an essay that became the best essay in the country called Danger in My Belly, which you won an award. You need to sit down and write, and all the money will come to you. That's what she told me. Basically, she told me, get lost. Go back. But I learned something from her. What did I learn? God gave you some talent. All you do is sit, use it. All you do is 10 hours of sitting and writing. That's what you need. I went back and I said to myself, what she said is real. It made me feel bad. I hate her because, she rejected me. No one likes rejection. But what I learned from it is I went back and sat down and wrote for 10 hours a day, for many, many hours. And now I sent her the book. And I sent her the award that they won. And she said, now you have a name. Now you have a book out. Do not focus on the money. Focus on the passion. Does that make sense? Passion. Passion produces success. But before passion, you need, self-search. What am I good at? Do the SWOT analysis. Strength, opportunity, threat, and weakness. And see what you're good at. Focus on that. Employ some time to it, and loneliness, and the door will open for you. So the only regret I have is I wish I listened to all the people that gave me advice. People are going to tell you what you're good at. You just have to listen to it and say, 3 people told me this. That's who I am. I'm going to do it. And that's the only regret I have. I have zero regret at everything else in life. Anybody who makes me upset, I'm going to write about it. If you can get me upset today, you're going to be in my next book, for sure. And that's how I live my life. Nothing makes me upset. Everything is literature to me. Life is a dance. Life is a beautiful. Life is a danger. I keep going. And that's what I want you to do as a writer. That book, I wrote it for you. I never see Somali people in any of the events that I do. I did an event 2 weeks ago. 600 people showed up. 0 Somali. What happened to my people here? You got to become readers. Iqra, akhri. Yes? Those who read know something. If you want to do something with your life, read and write. Whatever's wrong in the community, write about it. Let somebody else fix it. I wrote this book, and I know other people are going to fix America. if you listen to the reason why I love Tupac, and that book honors Tupac, is Tupac, everything he said to me at the time when I was listening to him, it made sense. Warrior, handsome. He said a lot of things that I liked. He's still my favorite rapper. So that book, whoever reads it, I saw somebody online saying, man, this guy loves Tupac. I do, because he reminded me of who I was. All I'm saying is become readers, tell your kids to read, and become part of the American experience. Don't say, I'm this, I'm that. No, you're an American. You've been living here for 30 years. You're going to live for another 30 years. Become an American and take ownership of this country and add value. That's it.
Yeah, I just want to seize that opportunity.
I also wanted to say, before we close, I just wanted to share a couple of things. You guys' hands might get tired because we're going to give out a lot of shout outs, okay? But wanted to give a special shout out to the space that we're in today at the Roadhouse. Samantha, right there, can you please raise your hand? Please, can we give a round of applause? It's a wonderful space that they allowed us to host, to give us the opportunity. If you guys want to book this place, they have pamphlets over there. Please support them, follow them. This is a beautiful space, right? Yeah. Beautiful space, right? So yeah, thank you, Samantha. Thank you to your team. Appreciate you. Want to give a special shout out to our videographer, my brother Mohammed over here, Mohammed TV. Yep, thank you. Yep. And my sister Noura. Noura, raise your hand. Where's Noura at? Noura right there, our lovely photographer right here. And brother Salaxley, where is he at? Mohammed, okay, there you go. Yep, we call him Mohammed right here. So really appreciate the people that, get to capture our moments for us. You see what I'm saying? Because like my brother mentioned earlier today, there's some people that weren't able to make it today. So we want to continue to show our loved ones and our friends this a lovely event that we was able to curate today. I want to give a special shout out to my aunt right there, Uba, for making this event happen. Give her a round of applause, please. We have Somali Culture Center. So as I was mentioned earlier, brother Abdurrahman, who was supposed to be here today, he actually came today while he was sick, and he had to unfortunately step out. So I want to give a special shout out to him and Somali Culture Center for putting this together, this event, a lovely event. So please give him a shout out, please. Give him a round of applause. Thank you. So now I got done with all my shout outs. I want to say these amazing 3 artists right here. It's a very vulnerable thing to share out your testimonies, share out your truth, talk about the challenges, the things that you guys have to overcome. I've been doing public speaking since I was 14 years old. I'm 27 now, and each time I do something like this, that being in these chairs, it's very nerve-wracking, but it's an exciting, anxiousness feeling. So we want to give an honor and give grace to the brothers and the sisters, these kings and queens right here that took the time out of their day to bless us with their truths. Like I said, their advice, how they was able to overcome any challenges and obstacles, and how they got to the stage that they're at today. So let's give them one more round of applause, please. Yeah. Matter of fact, I want everybody to stand up. Please stand up. Everybody stand up. You guys can stand up. Stand up, guys. Everybody stand up. Everybody stand up, please. Everybody stand up. Stand up, stand up. Come on, stand up, stand up. I want to hear a big round of applause. Round of applause to these 3 amazing guests right here. It's not easy. It's not easy to be on the stage, guys, okay? It takes a lot of hard work, sacrifice. Because we have my brother right here, Bojack, mentioned earlier today. He has been doing a tour a lot of places in this country. And sometimes he's been in spaces where there has not been no Somali representing Love City that we're in. To the mayor of SeaTac, to Sanai. We have an East African queen on the city council. Can we give her a round of applause? I know she's not here. Can we give her a round of applause, please? Yes. So like I said, I want to thank these kings and queens right here for blessing a village that got us here today. Feel what I'm saying? And just like Sister Aja right here, and Brother Bojack, their parents, their environment, their upbringing, none of them will be here if it wasn't for that guidance, that support, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Yes. So no man and no woman could do anything in this world left alone, okay? And I have this wonderful book in front of me, okay? I have this